last year when you pushed Andy. What was going on in that moment?
A push is a bit of an exaggeration. That wasn't a push. I would never push my coach like that. I was fired up though, and Coach Reid knows I get fired up, and sometimes he gets fired up the same way, and to get me going. And at that point in the game, I just wanted to let him know, you can put it on me, man. I'm ready for it.
When you watch it now, do you laugh?
No, I was pretty heated in that moment, so I don't necessarily laugh, and I know I can't catch him off guard like that to where he stumbles. I got to get him while he's looking. So I don't catch him off guard.
Straight games by one score, which is a record, obviously, including the Buffalo game. How do you explain that you're the ones that make the play to win the game consistently like that?
Yeah, some of those were just how the ball bounced, literally, and others, I know our guys work hard at all the different situations that we've had, and during training camp, you pound those things out. Normally, you don't get to use them all. I feel like we used most of the situations this year, but I would also tell you that the guys, they obviously don't give up. They're going to play 4 quarters for you.
Andy, right here on your left, sir, front row.
Gotcha.
Patrick, everyone knows about his physical abilities and the things that he does, but I don't necessarily think he gets enough credit for his mental acumen as a quarterback. Could you talk about that side of him, please?
Yeah, sure. Patrick's a real sharp guy, very smart. Spends a lot of time at the game and making sure that all these crazy formations that we have, that he can digest them first and then be able to spit them out in a short period of time. He's able to see and anticipate what the defense is going to do. So there's some things there that you got to know where your guys are. You got to know where their guys are, and he's able to digest all that too. So he's a sharp kid.
Andy, a lot of the younger players talk about Travis's practice habits, and we see it during training camp, but what stands out, 20-some weeks into the year about just the way he is on the practice field? Yeah,
Sam, I mean, you see it every day, too, that he goes 100 miles an hour. He wants to be in on every snap. We monitor that, but he wants to fight you when he has to come out. It's the same way during games. So it doesn't matter if it's a walkthrough, if it's full speed practice. He wants to be a part of it and be in there. And it's not just when he's getting the ball or being dialed up there. It's literally all the time. So, but again, we try to monitor that so he can stay fresh through the season like we do the other players. But he lets it be known that he likes to be in there all the time.
Andy, DeAndre Hopkins was mentioning how much he's been revitalized by joining you guys midseason. What have you seen from him since he joined your team, and do you hope to be able to use him a little more in the offense against the Eagles on Sunday?
Yeah, I knew we were getting a good player. Played against him quite a little bit, but I didn't know the leadership part. He's been tremendous that way. He hasn't complained that we're spreading the ball around or utilizing other guys along with him. He's willing to share in that way. So that whole senior leadership part that he's brought, I've really appreciated. And he's a unique route runner. He knows how to set things up. He's shared that with some of the guys, and I appreciate that part too.
As you think back to, and right here, as you think back to adding Steve in 2019, I just was wondering if you could put into words what he's meant to building the program in Kansas City.
Sure. Yeah, we appreciated Bob Sutton, all that he did. And then Spags was able to come in and jump into that spot and done a great job with the guys. I think the thing I appreciate most is watching the trust that the players have in them. That means that you're doing a whole lot of things right. These guys, you're not going to pull the wool over their eyes, and not for as long as he's been doing it. So They trust his scheme. He's a good teacher. They trust him as a person, knowing that he's going to try his best to put you in the best position for your skill that he possibly can, and try to highlight that part.
Good morning, Andy. Well, I'm Scott.
I got you. I'm going side to side. This is like a ping pong match. I got it.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Thank you very much. You guys are class acts anyways. Nevertheless, you've seen a lot of great quarterbacks over the years. You've been in this game a lot. Are there any particular legendary quarterbacks that Patrick Mahomes reminds you of? This guy is the most poised quarterback under pressure, and we know that his next stop after Kansas City is going to be Canton, Ohio. But I know that there has to be a few guys that come to mind that Patrick probably reminds you of.
Yeah, I've tried not to compare them. I mean, I've been blessed to have been around some great ones. And listen, you can take a little piece out of every guy and say he's kind of like this guy, he's kind of like that guy, but he's really rewriting it for himself. And that's what I noticed about being around the Brett Favres and the Don McNabbs and all these guys, you know, Michael Vick. I mean, all these guys. You know, Alex, the thing goes on, Jeff Garcia. I've been blessed to be around just a ton of them. And they all kind of put their mark on it, their own mark. And then somebody will ask that question down the road about some other quarterback, and he'll probably say the same thing. The coach will probably say the same thing I'm saying, that they kind of draw, you can draw a little bit from each guy, but it's really what makes him unique, is that he does so many things so well, and in a tough sport, you know. I mean, there's the mental part of it, and then there's the physical part of it too. And you're back there, and you've got 300-pound men bearing down on you, and you got to make a decision in a split second. And sometimes those 300-pound men land on you, and you get a few of those hitting you. That's to be able to get back up and stand in that pocket again is something, some mental toughness that takes place there. So.
Hi, Andy. Jory Epstein with Yahoo Sports over here in the back.
Okay, here we go.
When Howie Roseman was asked this week about his philosophy of building through the trenches and investing consistently in offensive and defensive line, he said that conversations with you really shaped that philosophy. What do you remember about the conversations you two had, and especially if you have any examples of what you taught him?
Yeah, sure. I'm a Howie Roseman fan, so I think he does a great job. The way that he's replenished his football team and it has been something to watch for sure. And he believes in that. He believes in the offensive and defensive line. You kind of start there, and if they're not functioning right, then normally your team's not functioning right, that side of the ball, whichever one it is. So that's the way he's built that team, and you can see that in their strengths there. And then it's the coach's responsibility to take advantage of the strengths that each player has. So. But he's given the coaches an opportunity to be successful with the players that he's brought in, and it's Howie, and then it's the group that he's hired around him too. So that's also part of that job, and that you bring in the right people. And so he's got some good worker bees there, man, that go out and find these guys, which is important.
Yeah, Andy. Over to the other side here.
Yep.
You clinched pretty early the #1 seed, and you rested guys against the Broncos. Was that nevertheless tough to take as that game was playing out? And did you worry that you would lose a little bit of edge?
I wasn't worried about the edge, but I don't like getting my tail kicked either. So they got after us pretty good.